if you have achieved success with the four-color theorem, congratulations. But your math is probably very ugly at this point. So we want to first make sure the colors, we like the colors. So I'm going to go up here and make some changes to my solved one. And you guys should too. But our overall goal is to select the same family of four colors, so pastels probably. And then, because we're going to start labeling, we're going to add state labels and capital labels. So the darker, more saturated colors you're using, that makes our type have to fight harder to be seen and read. So the lighter, more pastel-y sort of tones enable us to achieve figure ground, which is the next stage. So I'm going to show you how to make some global changes up here. If you haven't finished the four-color theorem, keep working at that, and we'll get you all set up here in a minute. So here's a couple of quick tips for everybody in the room. So I really hate this color orange that Oregon is, right? Oops, I keep working there. So I've selected it, and can somebody in the room who I've showed this to help me make a global change to all of these orange states? I showed it to 2 people. Yeah.
Go to the select menu, choose same appearance.
Okay, so select same appearance. All right, so let's start this again. I'm going to select Oregon by itself, and there are states like Utah, South Dakota that I also want to apply this change to. So I'm going to select same appearance, and look at that. All of the states I've filled with that color are now selected, and I can make them all some awful saturated color of red. Right? So that's a very powerful tool in Illustrator. Similarly, if you didn't follow me there, I'm going to do all the green states now. By selecting California, select same appearance. All 15 states that are that greenish tone are now selected, and I've changed that tone globally. But remember, our goal is, even the reddish Oregon I have up there is too dark. I don't like that, so I'm going to change that to a lighter tone. So select same appearance. And in the spectrum, the closer I am to the top of the spectrum over here, my color panel, the closer I am to the top is the lighter hues. So I've got a really nice light orange there. So the goal is just to make these states just noticeably different. In perception, they call these just noticeable differences. And in cartography, we like those because we don't want the document to be very loud. We're not trying to attract attention. We're just trying to say these are different, and as long as the reader can just notice those differences, we've achieved our desired goal for that. Now, my favorite cartographers, a lot of my friends work down in Washington, D.C. for National Geographic, and when they're filling polygons, for those who want to do something a little more advanced, I'm going to show you this effect that National Geographic does to make really nice looking polygons. So what they do is they use the actual stroke color instead of the fill color to separate the different states. And you'll see what I mean in a minute as this video plays. So I'm going to select all these red states, and what I'm going to do is invert the fill with the stroke and use this aligned center stroke. I'll play this again for you guys. But you'll recognize this effect if you've looked at National Geographic maps. They actually use the stroke to differentiate the qualitative states as opposed to the fill, which enables text to be even easier to read and place type and so forth. So I'm going to achieve that effect. I'm going to rewind this video and show you how we do that in Illustrator too. So if you have, this is another nice way to still have those political boundaries distinct, but also make room for other layers that are going to fill in the geography. So that select same, I use that tool hundreds of times a day when I'm making a map. And so does everybody see that idea there? We've just taken this polygon and inverted the stroke. I'm going to play the video one more time if you want to watch it, and then I'm going to do it in Illustrator myself.
Kurt, where did you get that file toolbox?
Okay. So, which tool? Does it have a name?
Can't see it. The one at the very bottom of the screen.
Oh, this stroke?
Yeah.
Okay, good, great question. So I probably should go back to the Illustrator. If you go into Window, and you choose Stroke, I should have said that. You get this exact window. I'm going to close it and reopen it just so you can. So Window, all of these are different panels that have several different tools. Illustrator literally has thousands of editing tools. And the Stroke tool is hidden by default, so I can turn it on within the window. And guys, here that is currently where I'm getting that no sign, that's the align stroke to inside. So if you imagine the shape of Massachusetts, by default the polygon is outlined along the edge of the polygon. Align stroke to the inside makes that polygon stroke actually bleed into the inside of the state. Alright, so right now it's along the border and equally spilling into New Hampshire and into Massachusetts. That align stroke to inside just brings all of that stroke into Massachusetts. So it's really good for political boundaries. It separates, and that's the effect we want in this video. So again, I'm going to show that video one more time. And achieving that effect with aligned strokes. So I'm inverting the strokes down here. Once I have all of my red states selected, these are not red states in the Mitt Romney sense, by the way. But with this tool right here, guys, that toggles the stroke and the fill. So if you have a white fill and a red stroke and you hit that button, all of a sudden you have a red fill and a white stroke. Okay? So if you have a black square with an orange stroke around it, and you hit that tool, all of a sudden you have an orange square with a black stroke around it. And so that's what I'm doing here to all of my states. So one of the things you want to make sure is that you have no fill or a white fill on your states at the end of this operation. Okay, so now that the video's played through a couple times, I'm going to actually do this to states up here. So if you're still not clear, which I'm sure you're not, I'm going to walk you through it with the great state of California to start. So when you have a state selected, if you want to look at its visual properties according to Adobe Illustrator, this means it has a green fill and this means it has a black stroke. And when I hit that toggle button, it inverts the stroke and the fill. So what's going to happen when I click right here? California is going to turn black. Now I have opacity set to 28. So California's black. If I click this again, it goes back to green. So that's that invert tool that I've been using. So when I have green as the stroke and black as the fill, if I want to use a white fill, with it selected and fill active in terms of above stroke over here on the left side of my tools menu, I mouse over to my color panel and I use the eyedropper and just choose white there. And now I just have a white California with a thin green stroke. Okay? And so now I'm going to achieve that effect of using the stroke. Remember, I went to Window and I have my stroke panel over here. And right now, this is telling me that the stroke of California is 0.529 points wide. And I'm going to change that to 3 so that it's dramatically different. And you can see that now that line is thicker, right? But right now, that stroke is so thick that it's bleeding into Nevada, Oregon, and Arizona. I want to align it so it just bleeds into California. That's what this align stroke option does in the stroke panel. Okay, so just to show you that effect again, here it is. Without it, it's subtle, but when I hit this align stroke to inside, that 3 point of stroke all comes into California proper. And that is what National Geographic will do if you look at their atlases or maps. They use this technique of putting the stroke inside the polygon And so bordering polygons just have stroke to differentiate them, but it's inside the polygon, which is a key step. So now I'm going to do a more global change with all of the states that look like Washington in my document. So the first thing I'm going to do is select Washington. The second thing I'm going to do is select same appearance. And all of a sudden I've got states such as Arizona and Oklahoma and Louisiana also selected. And so I'm going to, I still like this sort of magenta fill, so I'm going to make that the stroke with this swap fill and stroke button. And I don't like this black fill, so I'm going to go to my color panel and click so that I have white states. Now, you'll notice that we're back to this 0.529 point stroke over here, and I'm going to change that to what? 3. And then what am I going to do? Align stroke to inside. And it does that all at once. Okay, so now I have all of those states with that effect. Alright, I'm going to do this 4 times because I have 4 colors. Next is the Oregon category. I'm going to go a little faster this time. Select Oregon, select same appearance. Swap fill and stroke, get rid of that black fill. Make it white. Change the stroke to 3. Align stroke to inside. Voila.